Well, we're really excited to play Texas. I know the fans are excited. A lot of history there between the two teams, and our kids will be educated on the history. They need to be, and so we're really excited to have the crowd in here. Excited to get better this week at practice, and we will. And ready for a big crowd on ESPN.
Coach, since you watched the film on the Rice game, is there anything that you maybe thought you knew that turned out you didn't know, or vice versa, in regards to how they played, personnel-wise, or as a team, anything like that?
Yeah, I think you always find out, when there's a accumulation of bad things going on, you're feeling like, man, we weren't ready, we weren't this. But when you break it down, there's, we didn't block out on the punt and it got blocked. I mean, those things are simple fixes that should have already been, in practice. They didn't do that, But what I did find out is I thought our offensive line played hard, and I thought they played physical. And if you really look at it, we probably wore them down, wore Rice down. And so, they have a game for the final score is what you look for, and whatever that is at the end of the game, that's the winner. And certainly not going to sit here and apologize about anything. We won 38-17, but we certainly can get a lot better, and I can be a better coach, and that's what will happen.
So this summer you were very complimentary of Steve Sarkisian's play calling in the playoffs, understandably. What did you see from game one in terms of usage of personnel and what they're doing in that regard, his play calling and the scheming they're doing?
He got Louisiana on a unbalanced 12 set, flipped them back over to the field. They didn't make an adjustment on defense, and then 5 Robinson, he was wide open. They tossed the ball to him, and he made easy catch for a touchdown. So he's still doing those type of things. Very, very, very strong schematic guy. Uses his talent, and he has talent. He's got a lot of talent, skill positions, and I think his running back is really, really special. He also returns punts, had one called back Saturday, also returns kickoffs. But he has more than just Robinson, but Robinson's special.
What do you do with Burks in practice this week? Just kind of knock the rust off and get him back to what he should be.
And it's been in coaching for a long, long time, and probably anything in life. If you don't do it on a regular basis, it's hard to go and perform at your peak, and that's what happened with Burks. We certainly was hoping that, with a little Wednesday and all of Thursday, that he'd come out and play really well, and he didn't, and he'll say that, and that's not his fault. I mean, he was hurt, but we're certainly he's practicing today, and he'll practice all week because he came out of the game very, very healthy.
Sam, I guess Texas freshman quarterback, I'm assuming you pronounce his name Card, spelled C-R-A-R-D. But what'd you think of him? And you could expound a little bit on what really impressed you about Robinson, the running back.
I like Card. I like him a lot because he's got enough mobility to hurt you, So that certainly, especially early in the Louisiana game, he hurt him with his feet. He certainly can throw the football, and he looks like, a really, really fine player with good touch on the ball. He's commanding. It seems like he's commanding that offense. He understands all the checks and things of that nature. He runs the offense well. Robinson's hard to tackle. I mean, he has elusiveness as far as, in space, but he also runs over you. And he's got a lot of speed. I just really like him. I think there's a reason they have him for returning kickoffs, because he's fast and hard to bring down, and certainly punts as well. But I've never seen a guy recently that was your starting tailback that was also your starting punt returner, that was also your starting kickoff returner. So they obviously think over there about him what I do. I mean, he's a special, special player.
Coach, you said Saturday Andrew Parker's a guy who's gotten a lot better, I guess, since you've been here. What did you see from him in the snaps he got against Rice, and where has he gotten better?
Well, I think he's playing more confident. He's reading guards, reading his triangle through, playing physical, if you saw him play last year, to me it was almost like he was questioning everything, almost like a freshman where I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm a half a step behind. He didn't play that way the other day, and he's really a good story in that, I think he was frustrated last year because of his playing minutes, and he just stayed in there and got better, and certainly he's a 2 right now, but we needed him as a 1, and he came in and did a fine job. He was ready. So you have to give him credit for being mature, working hard, and made some nice open field tackles and just did a nice job. I was proud of him.
After playing nearly the entire game without Grant, what are your initial thoughts on not having Bumper for the first half?
Well, we have Henry, back, so we'll be fine there. It's just that the depth, certainly, Bump's a good player for us, and he's a good leader, and he's from the state of Texas, and that, I'm sure he's very disappointed he's not going to be able to play but in the first half. But the same thing that happened with Hayden last week, from the Alabama deal. And certainly I feel bad for Bump. The penalty for targeting, I understand it. It's just harsh, it's very harsh when you're not understand what the rules put in for and all those things. But, it's hard, especially when the running back's running and he's dropping his head, or the wide receiver, and it's a tough deal and it's a shame. But I think we're going to be just fine, especially with Parker, and then we'll ramp up Woodard and Poole too. But the second half we'll get Bump back.
Coach, along those same lines, with the targeting penalties, is there something you could do in film study to teach the guys, or drill work and practice, or how do you avoid those targeting penalties?
Man, if I knew, we wouldn't be having them. I think we're going to change our target down a little bit lower, our tackling target. Barry and I talked about it, and Mike talked about it. We have to. The bottom line is, right now, if you get a physical tackle, they're going to review it. I mean, that's just a bunch of the time, and you just got to make sure that headgear's out of there. And it's not just that, but you can't hit the head at all, whether it be shoulder pad, anything. And I understand the rule. I think there's a lot of good thought behind that rule. It's just punishment seemed to be very, very harsh to me.
I had a question about your run defense. What you thought of it in the Rice game and the rotation you used, if you thought the rotation worked out good, how you think you're going to match up against the Texas O-line, and then Ridgeway's status kind of incorporated.
My Lord, is there anything else?
It's all D-line related.
I think Ridgeway will be able to play. I liked our rotation. Either either we were in better shape than them, or we just played more players. I don't know what it was, but I liked the rotation. I didn't see a big drop-off, to be honest with you, and like Kyle and I were talking walking in here, if you'd have told us that a year ago, where we could feel comfortable with playing 8, 9 guys in a rotation on the D-line, we'd have to say, who are we talking about here? And but they developed, to their credit, and I thought they played well. Obviously, the ISO, you don't see many ISOs anymore, but the ISO play, they got us at 5-6 yards at a time. Then they threw a little fullback belly in there to try to offset that. But I thought they had a good game plan. But the bottom line is we wore them out, I think, on the D-line too. And I think a lot of those interceptions there, obviously Utsey tipped the one, but I think part of those interceptions came because our D-line had hit him several times.
Coach, what do you attribute KJ? He let a couple balls sail on him. Nerves, mechanics, something you can correct?
I wasn't too concerned about the balls that sail. Now, he's been high. That's where if he has problems, it's high. But, I was watching some tape on some high school kids that are 4 and 5 stars and all. They miss play. They miss it too. I seen Dan Marino miss a pass. You know what I mean? I don't want to make a mountain out of molehill there. The disappointing thing, honestly, was both in the first half with KJ and one when we could he was outside the pocket, just throw the ball away, and we threw a pick there. That right there was stress. That came from not having early success, and I'm trying to make a miracle happen out here. When we just throw it away, I think he would throw it away 9 times out of 10. I think he was pressing at that point. And then the very first play of the game, he's outside the pocket, just throw the ball away. And I know he wanted to hold it there, and part of that, too, is you never tackle him in practice, and I think part of that was, I can get it off, and those were real reps. So I'm not real concerned about that because I think as soon as he becomes a runner, I think he's a better thrower. I do. I know that sounds silly, but I believe that it builds up his confidence. So we'll work on those things, but I think we've got the right quarterback for us to win.
And what do you see out of them defensively, Texas? Structure, aggression, any players stand out?
They'll probably move all over the place, after I say this, but they are very, very sound. Not a tremendous amount of movement. Their nose will cross face to the center. They'll bring singles, single field blitzes, some boundary blitzes, a lot of five-man pressure. But I tell you what, I like Overshone. He's a really good player. Number 0, really good player, can run. They've got a redshirt guy in there, Brockmeyer, that I like. I like those two guys a lot. And then they've got a huge Coburn at nose guard, is a big, 350-pound guy. I thought Ricky played extremely well on Saturday. Besides, he can't have these floating snaps, and one of them hit him in the rear, and then he had a couple floating snaps. So we got to get that fixed. And then B.J. Foster's a really good safety. But against Louisiana, they played primarily a 2-high safety look and said we can stop you with safeties rotating down and numbers in a box are equal. I look for him to put another guy in the box just because of the running ability of KJ and make him throw it. And that's what we're kind of anticipating.
Your downfield passing the other day, it wasn't a lot of that. Do you think what's the importance of that in this game to be able to show that?
Well, I think any time that you can have a threat vertically, you're going to loosen everybody up. If you look at our game Saturday, we were 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and so you're not going to throw a lot of deep balls. You know what I mean? You're trying to figure out how we can stay on the field, keep our defense off the field, and get a first down. It probably wouldn't have been the most popular call at that time from KB to throw 4 verts. We're trying to figure out how to stay on the field a little bit, and 4 verts, it's good if if you catch it. If not, it's 2nd and 10 and no time's off the clock. So I think in the second half we did a better job of that. Timo basically caught the first one. We did throw it deep and got it called back on a lineman downfield, which we'd certainly have taken a look at that. And so I think you have to do that. We have capable guys that can do that as well, and KJ can throw it.
Hey, Sam, growing up in Oklahoma, did you have like a natural dislike for Texas? Just wondering kind of what you remember about the old Arkansas-Texas games or Texas OU games.
Well, I had a dislike for them when I was at Oklahoma, and we went down there and lost in the Cotton Bowl 2 years in a row. When I was a kid, it was more Nebraska. It was if you were an OU fan, Nebraska was a big game as well. Johnny Rodgers and those guys, but there was always in the state of Oklahoma a rivalry there with Texas, and you could feel it when I was coaching at OU. Certainly could feel that, but no, not any more than just that.
You got Texas back pretty good in the bowl game, in the Texas Bowl. I guess your second year here. What do you remember about that, and what a big deal that was for the fans and everything?
I remember the atmosphere, to be honest with you, Bob. I remember getting off the bus before the game, and it felt like you were at the Cotton Bowl. It felt like you were at the Sugar Bowl. As a matter of fact, a few years later, Georgia, and we went to the Sugar Bowl, and I didn't feel like the atmosphere was as good that day as it was when we played Texas in the Texas Bowl. It was a dynamic atmosphere. As a matter of fact, I remember getting off the bus going, "Wow!" And the crowd was electric the entire night.
Coach, I was wondering if you get your thoughts on your return guys this past weekend. What did you think about Bishop? I know he had the fumble, but he also had the long one, and then also I think Brooks had one chance.
Yeah.
What did you think about those guys?
I mean, we're still trying to find, the dynamic guy. But Brooks could. We obviously believed Bishop can be that guy, and we believe that Brooks can be that guy. Peroty's back there whenever, basically we're in some type of safe, and we want to make sure that we have a secure catch back there, and the guy going to make a really good decision back there. But I thought Brooks did a fine job with his return. I don't know what he got, 7 out yards or something like that, and then. Bish, he got turned around. And the ball came out. He got turned around, got hit pretty good, and then bumped into one of our guys, turned around, and the ball came out. And then he had made a good decision on kicking it up the sideline, had a nice return. So they'll just get better. Neither one of them's done it for us since I've been here.
This may be a short answer, but do you have any connections with anybody on the Texas staff, crossing paths, work together, anything like that?
Coach Floyd, their offensive line coach, I have a lot of respect for him. I've known him for a long time. He's a good coach. But Terry Joseph is their defensive secondary coordinator. He and I worked together at Tennessee, and so I probably know some more too. I know them, but I know those guys a little bit better than the rest of the guys. I don't know Coach Sarkisian well at all.
With Malik, I know you guys wanted to get him in the game. Just the way the game flowed and everything just made it difficult to do that, I guess.
Yeah, I think when the game, your intentions are always your intentions before the game starts, and then when the game starts like it did for us, especially offensively, you're trying to fix your starter and you're trying to fix your starters, I want to say this, I think KJ probably took a lot of heat this week, and everybody got their opinion, but the one that really matters is mine, and he's our quarterback, and he's going to be a heck of a quarterback for us, and you can't erase what's happened. You can't erase that we didn't have a good first half, but you also probably need to talk about that the kid played well in the second half too, and he corrected it. And so Malik, I wouldn't have one bit of problem playing Malik, to answer your question. I think he would give us something different a little bit because of his speed, but he also can throw the ball. We just got caught up in a bad first half, and we were just trying to fix it the entire first half, and obviously after halftime.
I guess it's easier to make corrections after a win. What did the Sunday night film, whatever you guys did, what did that look like? How did the players take the corrections?
Well, we talked to them today, number one, but there's a list of them, and to be honest with you, guys, when we beat Mississippi State last year, there was a list of problems we have to fix. And when we beat Tennessee, it's just how it is. There's just a lot of things that need to be fixed, and we need to get better. And the kid needs to get better. The coach needs to get better. I have to get better. And that's just football, and you're never going to play a perfect game. So there was a lot of mistakes made, probably less than I thought, to be honest with you. Penalties when they're called, it is what it is. And, I thought on the long run by KJ, Keytron Jackson's out there battling pretty hard, and unfortunately we got the hold call there. But, those things are aggressive penalties. They're certainly one anything what you might call not conscious of what he's doing. It's not, I'm reaching out here, I'm doing this, the hands were inside, he's trying to block the guy, and unfortunately we got the hold there. But as long as those are, it's not an effort. When you got problems on a team, it's effort. You got is if you have effort, then you got attitude. And we didn't have an effort problem. Oh, there's a few loafs in there that we had to fix, but it wasn't an effort problem. We played hard. We just didn't play well at times.
Hey, Coach, I just wanted to ask you about your defensive line. Is there anybody in that group who, maybe after watching film had a better day than maybe you originally thought?
No, I mean, I thought they played really well. I think 0, 55, 5. Torian Carter, I think, came in and gave some good plays, in there. I like Zach Williams stood out. 50 stood out. Gregory, I don't know. I thought they all played really hard, and they didn't get knocked back and things of that nature. Got off blocks. I was really happy with them. I'm pleased, and I think they'll get a lot better because their confidence will start growing a little bit more.
Did Tyson Morris kind of carve a niche for himself as far as the catch he made, and just kind of with things were struggling really until that play?
With Timo, you're looking at a shoulder surgery. A guy that he wasn't starting, and when he decided to super senior and come back, he wasn't a starter. Had shoulder surgery, and then when he made the decision to come back, I think he made the decision that I'm going to do everything I can. I'm bought in, and I'm not saying he wasn't last year, but he is now, and he's put on weight, he's put on strength, and he earned that spot. I mean, he had to earn it because you have two other guys over there that are good players as well, and he had to earn it. And I was glad to see he made that catch, and glad to see he got a touchdown out of it. And he's been a very willing and good blocker. I'm just really proud of the guy. He's made himself into a good ball player.
Sam, I saw the thing last night on social media where Eric, pretends to call you asking for a ticket for the game. He was all over social media during the game with photos. I don't know if I can remember too many basketball coaches being that involved with football. I know you guys are friends and stuff, but I just wondered what you thought about that. That Eric's just so active, it seems like, with football.
Well, I mean, he's a supporter of football and all sports just like I am, and he does it in his own special, different way. He gets the fans pumped up about. I'm a little more old fashioned, but I chuckle. I get a grin out of watching his social media things. I love the one where he put his face on all these different guys throwing, and then he had one on there where he kicked off, and it was Rice, and then he, certainly, if you were thinking whose idea that was about the phone call, I'm pretty sure you knew it wasn't mine, and I was more than happy to do it. But he's an exciting dude, man. I mean, he's a good person, and he loves the university, and I'm certainly glad he's a friend of mine.
Last one, Jacob.
Sam, obviously different players, completely different team, but do you put anything into last year's Alabama game and how Sarkisian played against your guys' defense?
Yeah, we certainly have looked at it. We'd be a fool if we didn't, but we certainly have looked at it. At that point, he may have been a little conservative than what they normally would be. It was the last game of the year. They're trying not to get anybody hurt. They're going into the SEC championship game, all those things. So I think he a little bit conservative over what we saw on film from previous games of his. I think the man is as good an offensive coordinator as there is in the country. I've thought that for a long, long time. And again, I've never met him, but I said it before, I think the national championship game he called, and then you go back and look at the way he called the game on Saturday. He's a phenomenal offensive mind, and we have used that Alabama from last year. We went back and watched certainly all the games from last year as well.
Thanks, Coach.